Okay, so now after doing the overview of Hilchos Pesach, we're doing Hilchos Korban Pesach chapter 1. Okay, and we're just gonna go straight through the chapter and then decide where we want to go after that. Okay, and this is the Shlitas of Pesach. Okay, and the goal for those who can visualize is, I think the goal is we want to be able to visualize these things as good as possible, because we're very, very experientially unfamiliar with like bring korbanos. So I think the more you can make this come alive, then the better. And there are some pictures in the fancy Rambam, which I have in color on the PDF, but I included in black and white on the thing. So we'll look at those when they're appropriate. Okay, so mitzvah say. This is Aleph. Mitzvah is a lishkot Pesach barba asar lechodesh Nisan achar chatzos. It is a positive commandment to slaughter the Pesach. And what's the what's the best translation for Pesach? I mean, I know they translate it as proper noun as the Paschal sacrifice, but what's the, like when you say it's called Pesach al Shem Pesach hamakom al Batei Avosinu b'Mitzrayim. What do you say? What's the translation of the word Pesach? Korban Pesach is named after the fact that God was Pasach al Batei Avosinu b'Mitzrayim. So how do you translate Pasach?
I mean, when I grew up hearing that, I don't know if it's accurate, but I always thought it meant Passover.
Right. So the standard translation is Passover, right? I think that that's a bad translation, and there is a pasuk that says that. It says Avarti be'eretz Mitzrayim, I'll pass through Eretz Mitzrayim. But if you look at the Mefarshim on Pasach, they either say that it means to skip over, right? Because the whole idea is that he went from house to house, but then when he saw a house of the Jews, he skipped, right? I mean, he or bypass over, right? To bypass, Or the other translation is to hobble, but I don't think that that's good for. It means that in other contexts, but I don't think that means that for God, because that kind of implies like an inefficient movement as opposed to a intentional skipping over, So the skip over sacrifice would be like literal translation. Yeah. So to shech the Pesach on the 14th of the month of Nisan, achar chatzos, after midday. Ve'in shoftin ela min hakavasim o min ha'izim, and bilvad, and we can only shecht it from the sheep or from the goats alone. And this is, not sheep. Sheep, yes, but the what do you call them? Young rams, I think would be the. What was it?
Is the term kid?
Kid is for goats, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I don't know if kid in English has a connotation of gender, but because I know in Hebrew, then there's different words for different gendered animals. So you'll see that this is in this very sentence, Zachar ben Shana has to be a male, a 1-year-old, right? So a 1-year-old male ram or a 1-year-old male goat. Is that what a billy goat is? Is billy goat the same thing as a male goat? Or do they just call
I don't know.
Yeah, or is it a species? I have no idea. Fine. Yeah.
Do you have a computer?
Yeah, let's see. Billy goat is a male goat. Okay, fine. Yeah. And what if you just said, I think goat is the generic term, right? Goat is either a domesticated ruminant animal or a lecherous man. Okay, I don't think that's what it means here. And then with sheep, I always forget what a ewe is. A ewe a female sheep? Yeah, ewe is a female sheep, so we don't use the word ewe. Lamb, I think, has no gender connotation, just a young sheep. Or and then kid, obviously it's going to say, a young goat. Okay, fine. There's the second one. Yeah, fine. Okay, so so I think ram is. Unless ram specifically means adult. Let me just see. I don't think it does though.
No, ram means male.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah. Interesting. An uncastrated male sheep. Right. We have the similar term for with what do you call it? A heifer is a female cow. A steer is an. It's got to be a different meaning. Steer is where? Wait a minute. Am I missing it? Male adjustment has been castrated, right? So steer has been castrated. I guess a bull or an ox would be the uncastrated one. Yeah. Yeah. I know there's these farming terms. That's why I was just trying to be sensitive to the different connotations here. Okay. So, or denotations. The echad ha'ish ve'echad ha'isha chayavim b'mitzvah. So men and women are obligated in this mitzvah. So why are women obligated in this mitzvah, even though it's time bound? So do we say, I never know what we say avhein haiboso nes for, Like I know we say that for Megillah, right? I know we extended to stuff. I never know. I always feel like that there are things that that the mechayev comes from elsewhere that I'm unaware of. So we got to check on that one. And then he says, "Umisha bitul mitzvazo bezadon," one who does not do this mitzvah intentionally. Va'avar yom arba'asar v'lo hikriv, and the day of the 14th passes by and he didn't offer it. V'hu lo tameh v'lo b'derech rechoka, and the person is not tameh or on a path traveling. Right, in which case that if you were on those two cases, then he'd be chayev in Pesach Sheni. So harizeh chayev kares, then you are chayev kares. In bitla bishgaga pater, and if you nullified it unintentionally, then you're pater. So I mentioned the Mikdash, the Har Bayis people yesterday. So do they hold? I don't know. I'd have to ask them. But do you know if they hold that the reason why they're trying to do it so forcefully is because they're considering themselves chayev kares unless they're actually prevented from doing it? What would they say about all Jews who are theoretically they're svara, right, is that we could do it, unless you're forcibly prevented from doing it. Yeah.
Does it even work to be forcibly prevented that people prevent you or other Jews?
I don't think that would matter, right? I think it'd still be considered anos if the Jews prevented you from doing it.
I guess the individual, but at the same time as a collective of nation, which I'm not quite sure that exists or not.
Yeah, I don't think it matters though, right? Let's take examples of in when Yeravam ben Nevat, blockaded the way to Yerushalayim and they couldn't do it Leila Regal, even though he was the king acting on behalf of the Malchus, even though it wasn't everybody, then I still think that's anos. Yeah.
It's even putting that aside, we should still do it.
It's a good question. I mean, that's kind of what I'm asking about is why is it just this group of, whatever you want to call them, who are zealous about it?
Is it so important that we know where we need to move?
I mean, I'm not clear on the detail. I guess we'll find out, right? What we would need to know in order to do it. I guess that would be a question we could look at. Yeah, Yosef.
Even as soon as the fact that it's a cart, that if you were stop banging, it's a kares. I think that I think you have enough force to just say, okay, whatever, to heck with the sfegos.
Right.
Sure. Suffix. Even if it's a suffix also or suffix cars.
Well, I mean, if you're not doing it, if you're wrong, then it doesn't count.
Right. I mean, if you're doing it wrong, then I mean, I guess there's two issues here. Let's divide two issues. One is shchitas of Pesach, in order to be able to get the meat for the Seder, right? One is shchita, the other one is hakrava, right? Just in terms of the components of the mitzvah here, right? So if you are makriv in the wrong place, I mean, is that considered to be makriv, korbanos b'chutz, or is it the fact that it's on the Har Bayis make it not that? I don't even know the halacha. Yeah, Yosef.
Either way, what's the punishment for makriv b'chutz?
Didn't we read yesterday in the kares list that's chayav kares?
Okay, in that case, my point is rescinded.
Yeah, I mean, let's just see that inside because I don't know for sure. Yeah, actually, you know what? I think maybe we'd be better served if we went through the first parak and then looked at the feasibility of doing it nowadays, and then looked into the issue, and then also that way I can ask Ariel Rachmanov to send from Rav Chaim Ozer for stuff. Okay, so let's look at Rav Makbili here. Here we're really leaning on Rav Makbili. In past sections we kind of look to him. We were prompted by questions. Here I feel like we're desperate for him filling in the facts that we don't know because we're not familiar with kachim. Okay, so chatzos emsai hayom, we know that. Okay, midday, middle of the day. Achar chatzos nikra b'torah bein harbayim. After chatzos is considered between the evenings, right? That's what we call afternoon. Ben shana, 1 year old, bishanaso harishona, in its first year. In other words, 1 year old does not mean that it has reached 1 year of age. It means it's within its first year. Okay, so we would say 0 years old in in modern language, right? Okay. Lo tameh. Because it's usher for a tame to be makriv the Pesach, not on a distant path. Someone who is not able to arrive at Yerushalayim. So those two categories of people are pushed off to Pesach Sheni. Yeah.
That's another time thing. Isn't it only if most people are tahor?
Yes. If everyone is, or if most people are tame, then you're allowed to be makriv it. Yeah. Correct. Yeah, good call. Kares, your chayv kares is onesh nitzchi lenefesh adam, an eternal punishment for the soul of man. In lo asa teshuva, if he did not do teshuva. Bo nimna min ha'adam olam haba. That is what prevents people from getting olam haba. Who nidon la'olamim al averosav hachamuros, and then you're judged forever with your severe sins. Okay, this wades into a machlokus, which I'm kind of glad that Chizkiyahu is not tempting me right now, but this is a machlokus about, does Rambam hold by Gehenom? You know, Rambam does use this phrase of nidon la'olamim al averos hachamuros. He's judged for all eternity on his stringent averos. So plain pshat is Rambam does not hold by a like Gehenom as a type of afterlife. He holds by Gehenom as an event that occurs in Yemos HaMashiach that punishes Rashayim. But there are people who want to claim that that phrase in the Rambam implies that he holds that you are like suffering some sort of punishment for eternity. And then the others who say, no, of course the Rambam doesn't hold that because he would have spelled it out more clearly. Yeah.
Is there a difference between a punishment and getting less reward?
Yeah, there is, I think, because if the way I understand the Rambam of Kares is that you cease to exist. So it would really be no different than an animal. Like an animal, when it dies, doesn't have an eternal soul, and so it ceases to exist. Its biological life is its only existence. So my understanding is if you're chayv Kares, you cease existing when you are, when you die. Whereas if you said that you are punished and you don't get the reward in Olam Haba, right? Like you don't get any, whatever the nature of the pleasure is. But if you get punished forever, that means that there is some form of existence you have and some form of pain or suffering. Obviously it's not psychological or physical, that you would get or something happening to your soul. So I just don't think that there's room in the Rambam's metaphysics for that, nor is there any indication in the Rambam, that is strong enough to support that, in my opinion. Okay, pater. So that's if you're shkaga, you're pater. And then one more point that the Rambam made, which we talked about briefly yesterday, is you can do teshuva if you're chayv kares. And the only reason I feel like I have to emphasize that is there are so many kids who I've taught who think that once you do something that's chayv kares, that's it, you're finished. But the Rambam holds you can always do tshuva on anything as long as you're still alive. And we saw yesterday that it doesn't mean you're going to get instant kapara. Like for something that's chayv kares, you need tshuva yom kippurim and you need afflictions, but you do get kapara and you get saved from kares. So the never give up hope unless you're dead, in which case telling you to never give up hope is not going to help if you're dead. So
isn't it a little odd that I don't know.
Isn't it a little bad that you could get out of ownish? Is that what you said?
Oh no, bad. It's weird. Let's say like other ownership, like Utah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
and I don't whenever on top of but still
right.
Utah.
So here's the even weirder thing, right? Is that you definitely get misa, right? However, what happens if you're chayv kares? Okay, so obviously God is the one who takes care of the kares, but all right, this I don't know if I can find. I know I can usually just whip out the Rambams really quickly, but I need to look for this really quickly here. Hold on. Just 1 second. Yeah, so this is a halacha. So this is in Hilchos Sanhedrin, Ha'onshim Masur Lahen. You could just say Sanhedrin, 17:7. Okay, so this is a strange thing. Kol mi shechata v'laka, anyone who sins and is given malchus, given whiplashes, choser lekashruso, he returns to a state of being a kosher Jew. Shnemar v'nikla achicha leinecha, as it says, and your brother will be degraded in your eyes. Kevin shalaka, once he is whiplashed, harihu achicha, then he's your brother. Af kol muchuyave kares bilvad shalaku, even all those who are chayav kares alone, who get whiplashed, nifteru midei kresan, they get exempted from their kares, right? And I just want to check and see if Chabad.org has any footnotes on this, because again, this is an area I'm not familiar with, and no shame in relying on people who write footnotes. Yeah.
Does this count as a source?
Chabad does not count as a source yet. What did I say? 717?
Yeah, 17.7.
17.7. 17. They might not have footnotes on these. Yeah, they haven't gotten the footnotes on these yet. All right, fine. Yeah. So I'm compounding Chaim's question, which is that ordinarily with punishments, you don't get out of it. Now we can understand why for Beis Din punishments you can't get out of it, because I think there's no way to prove that you did tshuva, right? For God's punishments, then you can say that God sees, so to speak, that you've changed, and I don't have any theological problem saying that God gets you out of it. The weird thing is the intersection. Well, so Chaim, do you have a problem with that? Of like, if you, let's say like whatever the form Onish takes in Olam Haba, you don't have a problem saying that if you do tshuva, then you get out of that Onish, right? Or do you?
I don't know.
So then we're all in trouble.
Well, I mean, I'm not, yeah, so.
No, right. But I'm saying like, that's a very common notion, I think, right? That if you do tshuva, then you get, your punishments are removed. It's like you can even get to a higher level than you were before you sinned.
Yeah, I don't think I have a problem with that.
Right. So the problem, correctly, yeah, it has to be a real tshuva. So I think the problematic cases, if I'm reading you right, but this is definitely my problematic cases, is the intersection between like a punishment that is recognized by the court and has a divine component. So kares is something that registers in the halachic system, right? Like certain averos are chayav kares, and the punishment is administered by God. It's not administered by Beis Din. Yet Beis Din, through giving you malchus, can patra you from your kares. So it's a weird like intersection of that. Let me just see if the Rambam mentions it again in another place. I don't think. Just in a second here. Looking over Allah. So say let me just see here. Yeah, so this is another place where he says it in 18:4. Misha laka bebeis din al isra kares, v'laka pam shnia al osa kares at. No, I mean he says that, but wait one second. Okay, that's a different thing. Hisrubo shora isra kares omisas beis din. Hisrubo of the hirkin rosha oshita. No. I thought he had another statement about kares. Yeah, that one. Yeah, we didn't end up doing that one. Sorry. So kares. Yeah, never mind. Okay, yeah, but that's, to me, that is the problematic case. Is the one where you are where Beis Din gets you out of a divine punishment. I mean, look, I guess if God can get you out of a divine punishment, then he can institute for Beis Din to do it. So what makes it weird then? Is it just weird because there's this intersection of divine and the opposite problem? Right. So that I am answering, I think, because I'm saying that I don't think Beis Din, that only God can see what's inside of you, but Beis Din has to go with what their eyes see, and there's no way to tell whether someone did tshuva. So I think it's just like a legal impossibility. And not only is it a legal impossibility, if they tried to the system, then presumably what would happen is like people would fake it or whatever, and then it would lead to a dissolution of society. Yeah, Yosef?
So question about how's the bigger question? How's the Beis Din's whooping or punching anything fix anything? Why is the Beis Din?
That's a question. That maybe that's what's weird about this, right? Is how does getting malchus? I mean, it hurts, but how does it get you out of kares? Especially like is the assumption that you did teshuva, like yeah.
I don't mean like in a car sense. I mean, or actually, I mean in a why does getting malchus do anything for any halachos?
Well, malchus. You're not asking about malchus as a punishment, are you? Like, no, sorry. In other words, malchus as a punishment, we can understand, right? Like you're liable for punishment and you get that, right? I'm going to mute you, Chaim, unless you have something to say. Yeah.
What does it mean liable for punishment?
What does it mean? What do you mean? No, but like I don't get it.
It is making some bad assertion. There are always some metaphysical effects of everything.
Oh, right. No. So in addition to the metaphysical effects, then there are effects in the earthly court because same reason why we have punishments in our society is a deterrent. Yeah.
That's the first thing that if you got punished in the court, like, I don't know, I said for eating non-kosher and whipped, the same that these that if you say you work for eating non-kosher, then the metaphysical effects would also.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying if for something that's chayav kares that you get malchus for, then the malchus gets rid of your kares. Then what about something that's not chayav kares and has metaphysical effects? Would it also get rid of that? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, or as maybe as having a premise which might be wrong, or that there would be some metaphysical effects for eating non-kosher that getting whipped would eliminate?
That's both. That is a very good question. I've never thought about that before, and I don't know the answer. You would think that based on the kares thing, if you could get rid of kares, then it could get rid of other stuff, but maybe not. Like maybe even want to get rid of kares, maybe it's just getting rid of the kares, but it's not the same. Let's say you have two people, okay, who both do averos that are chayav kares, and they both get whiplashes, but one of them does tshuva and the other one doesn't. So you would presume the one who did tshuva is going to have a greater chelik in olam haba than the one who didn't do tshuva, even though both of them are part from kares. Yeah, I don't know. I got to. What I got to do is I should look at the Rambam Bekius on the kares stuff and see if the Rambam addressed it anywhere. Yeah, fine.
In the case where you added kares malchus,
yeah,
is that like no element involved?
So that's what I'm wondering. From the raw source that we just saw, it sounds like there's no element of tshuva involved. But this is kind of unfamiliar territory, and I don't know if the Rambam explains elsewhere that there's tshuva. Yeah, Yosef?
Also just what's really fun because they use only case about the kofar and just wondering how's the paying money and the kofar work together? Like what's the mechanism there?
Yeah. That one is a little off topic though. So that one we're not gonna look into right now. But yeah. Okay. Where I think I'm gonna look into the Rambam Bekius and then also skim through in Kresos, see if the Rambam says anything there. I've never done the Pirush Mishnah on Kresos. Well, I've never done Kresos before, but yeah. Okay, let's go on. I didn't skip a page. Okay. Halacha Gimel. Ein shochdin as a Pesach ela ba'azara. We may only shech the Pesach in the courtyard. Okay, kishar kachim, like the other kachim. And here we're going to need to look at a picture in a second, but Rambam Bekius says ba'azara is hachatzer saviv ha'heichal, the courtyard surrounding the heichal, which is hamivne hamirkazi b'mikdash, which is the central building in the Mikdash. Hakolelas es ezras hakohanim ves ezras Yisrael. Lo es ezras nashim. You know what I'm going to do? I was trying to look for an image. I'm just trying to see map of Mikdash. Yeah, I have I'm looking for something like this, but online, so I can put it on the screen. Okay, this is no. We're not going to go to messianictorah.com. Yeah.
Where is this count source?
No. Shiur Mikdash, based on Mikdash. If I can't find it, then we'll have to just Chaim, you'll have to use your imagination, and then Yosef and I will look in the books. Yeah, I can't find it here. Maybe I'll scan it for tomorrow. But yeah. So you know what? Actually, let me just do this now. Hold on. I'm just going to pause the recording. Okay. So in this map here, so you have. So you have the Heichal, which is the central part of the Mikdash, which encompasses the Kodesh HaKodashim and the Kodesh. And then outside of the Heichal, you have the Ulam, which is the hallway. Okay, and then this whole thing is the Ezras Kohanim, and then outside of Ezras Kohanim is the Ezras Yisrael, and then outside of that is Ezras Nashim. So what is Rav Makbili saying here? Hold on, am I sharing? Yeah, I am sharing the whole screen. Okay, so Rav Makbili is saying that this includes the Ezras Kohanim and Ezras Yisrael, but not the Ezras Nashim. So in other words, we only shech the Korban Pesach basically from this Shar Nikanor inwards in the Ezras Kohanim or the Ezras Yisrael. Okay, fine. Is Ezras Yisrael really that small? I guess so. All right, fine. All right, so that's our orientation. So then he says, okay, back to the halachos, like other kachim. Af b'shas heter habamos lo hayu makrivim es ha-pesach b'bamas yachid ela b'bamas tzibor. Even during the time when bamos were permitted, they would not offer the Pesach on the platform of a yachid, but only on the platform of a tzibor. So this is what makes the Korban Pesach weird, right? Because it's a korban of a tzibor, but it has qualities of a korban of, it's korban of a yachid, but it has qualities of a korban tzibor. And then he says, "Umi shahaya makriva b'bamas yachid." If one were to be makrivit on the bama of an individual, loke ilu hikrivu bashuk. So then you get malchus as though you were to be makrivit outside of Mikdash. Maybe I spoke incorrectly when I said that you're chayav kares for being makriv b'chutz. Hold on, let me just see what I. Hold on, going back to Krisus. Or to Sanhedrin, hold on just 1 second. I thought I saw Kares. Kola over Alosa say Shechayim of Kares. Where's the list? Yeah, here's the list. And Hamale Hashokit Kajmachutz and Hamale Kajmachutz. Yeah, you're 5 Kares. Yeah.
Are any of the shortcomings you're allowed to fulfill on Obama?
I don't really know stuff about what was done and what was not done on Obama's. Yeah.
What was the Sanhedrin?
That was in Sanhedrin 19:1. Yeah, 19:1. He says that if you're shochet kochim outside of Mikdash, or if you are makriv, then you're chayav kares. So now I don't understand this halacha. Then he's saying someone who was makriv on. Oh, maybe he means during the heter bamos. Yeah, no, I just didn't realize that this was continuing that case. I thought he was saying. I thought the apishas b'shar heter bamos was only up to here. And you're right. It makes sense. Okay, shnemar lo suchal lisboch as a pasach be'echad she'arecha. As it says, you may not slaughter the Pesach in one of your gates. In other words, there's a specific halacha by the Pesach, even at a time of Bamos, that prohibits it from being shechted in one of a private location. And from the oral Torah, we learn that this is a prohibition against one who shechs it on a bama of an individual, even during the time when Bamos were permitted. All right, so let's get some background here from Rav Makbili here. Okay, so he says, B'shas heter Bamos, when the Mishkan was in those 3 places, Gilgal, Nov, and Gibeon, but not when it was in Shiloh, and to bring private korbanos to Hashem, and only the korbanos of the tzibor need to be brought in those 3 in the Mishkan locations. Okay, Bamas tzibor is b'Mishkan. Okay, Shnemar lo suchal lisboch as a Pesach be'achad she'arecha asher Hashem kacha nosen lach. So he's bringing down the full psukim here. You may not slaughter the Pesach in one of your gates that Hashem your God gives you. Only in the place that Hashem your God chooses to make his name dwell there. Sham tizbach as a Pesach ba'arev. There may you slaughter the Pesach in the evening. As the sun sets on the time that you went out from Egypt. Okay, so Moshe just means Torah Shabbat Peh. Okay, fine. So what do we see from here? So what we see from here is the look. So this is the source of the I don't know why we don't do this more in the Mishnah Torah. We've done this in several times, trying to define what the topic of the halacha is, right? So, for example, Gimel, what's the topic? Is location of the Shchitas of Pesach. In Aleph and Beis, it was the chiyuv and the onesh, right? Is the or the mitzvah, right? Yeah. Okay, fine. Okay. So far, does this give us any data about bringing the Korban Pesach nowadays? So far, sounds like he's saying it just has to be slaughtered in the Azara, right? Not like in any particular place in the Azara yet. Okay, yet. All right, Daled. Shchitas Pesach achar chatzos. So we know that already. The shchita of the Pesach is after chatzos. V'im shechato kodem chatzos. If a person shechted before chatzos, pasul, it's invalid. And you can only shecht it after the afternoon Tamid offering. After the afternoon Ketoras incense. And after they, I always forget how to translate mitivin in this context. After they tend to the narrows, I think would be the best translation. Then they start the what's it called? The assembly line, not the assembly line, the shechita line. Is there a word for assembly line where you're not assembling something, or do you just use assembly line for that? Yeah, it's like a bucket brigade only. Yeah, whatever. Okay, ad sofayom until the end of the day.
Assembly line.
Yeah, assembly line. Okay, v'im shechato achar chatzos kodem tamid shel ben arbaim kasher. But if you shechted it before the tamid shel ben arbaim, after chatzos but before the tamid shel ben arbaim kasher, then it's good. And then what you have to do is you have to have someone be stirring the blood of the Pesach until the dam of the tamid is sprinkled. And then the dam of Pesach is sprinkled afterwards. And if he sprinkled the dam of the Pesach before the dam of the tamid, then it's kasher. So there's two levels of b'diavad, right? So l'chatchila, you shecht and do zrika of the tamid shel ben arbaim before the Pesach. If you did the shechita out of order, you still do the zrika in the correct order. And if you did the zrika out of order, then it's kasher. Yeah, Yosef?
Just do this first. So Ben Arbaim is one that starts Rosh, right?
No, that's the Tamid Shel Shachar.
Okay, so
this is the last of the Tamidim, or the second, yeah.
Yeah. There's also, sort of, which is, what the core of Musaf? What happens if the Musaf is shechted after Tamid Shel Ben Arbaim?
Well, you mean if Musaf is shechted after the Tamid Shel Ben Arbaim? Good question. I mean, I think. Okay, well, this is inferring based on tefillah, right? I believe we hold if you daven Musaf after Mincha, then you're still Yotei Musaf. So I'm assuming that that's correct, but let me check in Tminim Musafim. Is there something specific prompting you to ask that question?
I was just wondering how's the Korban Pesach compared to other Korbanos?
Right.
I was thinking that if Musaf, the Korban Pesach has somehow be connected to the day, then they do the Pesach, then you should have it after the previous Korban day.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering about Musaf, where it should be on the current Korban day. So what if you have it after the current Korban day? I'm trying to figure out if dislocation from day of Korban is a general rule that can be extended beyond Korban.
Yeah, well, I'll look up your one question about the Musaf if I can find it. I'm a little hesitant to universalize in an area that I know nothing about, so I wouldn't universalize here, and I might not even find the answer to this. Okay, here we go. Maybe wait, hold on a second. No, I think we're gonna get lots more stuff. Yeah, I don't think I can find it quickly. Okay, let's do Rav Makbili on the. So what the obvious? What's the definition of this halacha here? Of the subject. Timing, right? The timing of the shechita. Okay, so he says, Daled Tamid shel ben arbaim korban tamid. So it's the korban tamid. Shnei kavasim shayu makrivim osam b'chol yom. These are the two lambs that are offered every day. One in the morning, one in the afternoon. Me'achar tamid, you do it after the tamid. Pesachum korban hayachid hakarev achar tamid shel ben arbaim. When he says a Pesach is the korban yachid that is offered after tamid shel ben arbaim, I think, tell me if this sounds familiar. I think ordinarily the tamid shel ben arbaim is the last korban that is brought, right? So this is like an exceptional korban that you bring it after the tamid shel ben arbaim. Okay. See, this is an area, by the way, that is ripe for tamei mitzvos. You know, that like, if this is an exceptional anomalous phenomenon, you know, so then I feel like there probably should be a reason for it. Now you could say maybe it's not a reason, maybe you just want to make it as close to the night as possible. But like I sent my tamei mitzvos spidey sense is tingling. Okay, to attend to the candles of the menorah and the Mikdash. The lighting of the candles is their hatava. Okay, so hatava, the reason why I use the term tending to and not lighting is because you do other stuff also. It's the setting up of the wicks and the filling of the oil. Memaris is menadn. Okay, I knew I was going to pronounce that in one shot. Menadnado. That's a hard word to read. Is you shift it around in Manano and you shake it, Kadeshla Yikar, so that it doesn't congeal. Yeah. Yizrok dam, because you can't sprinkle stuff that's congealed. Yizrok dam Pesach, dam Pesach nizrak, so the Pesach blood is sprinkled. O lieser diuk nishpach. O min hakli al dafna samizbeach. I don't know what it means by O lieser diuk nishpach. I don't know what that means. Oh, meaning, or to be more precise, poured. Okay, meaning we call it zrika because halachically it's zrika, but he's saying that there's going to be, I think he means that it's going to be poured, more accurate to say poured based on the quantity. Min hakli al dafnos hamizbeach, from the kli on the walls of the mizbeach. Yeah, so we're going to see what they do with the blood later on. Okay, that's coming in halacha vav. Okay, so any questions on this? I think we're good here. Yeah? No?
Yes. I was just trying to think of it. It also does say that the Korban Pesach has to be done by chatzos a while, and I feel, and to me, you just need to probably have it somehow sort of an off-kilter day.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, but the reason for it being done by chatzos halayla, I think, is not stemming from Mikdash, right? It's stemming from the fact that that's when the Gula happened, right? I think that's like the reason that's explicitly given, but it is definitely off kilter today. I mean, the fact that we, the fact that we do it at this timing is not usual, and the fact that we have all the stuff at night also is unusual. Okay, 5. Hashokin as a Pesach bismano, one who shechs the Pesach in its time. Oh, here's another question I have, by the way. Okay, your chayv kares for not doing the shchitas of Pesach. So weird that you're not chayv kares for failing to do hakravas at Pesach. You would think that the being makri of the Pesach is the main thing, not the shchita, right? Isn't that like intuitively like the only reason we do shchita is to be able to do hakrava? Yeah.
I just think I'll just think like what they even mean that the coin who would do hakrava. So. And unless you had intention for it to be a krava, it wouldn't count as shrita. So wouldn't inherent. So it actually doesn't say your case would be one where the Kohen messed up afterwards, and you know he messed up, so you would still have time. I
guess so, right? You would still have to bring another korban, right? Yeah. I don't know. Not sure. Just voicing my thoughts. Okay. 5. Hashokin is a Pesach bismano, one who shechs the Pesach in its time. So this is our other halacha, which, you know what, we did not end up doing the what do you call the sefer mitzvahs on this yet. I'll show you which mitzvah is in a second. I'm not going to hand out that packet if you don't mind. I'll just use the screen because it's probably going to be short. Yeah.
Actually, do you have to wait until the dawn's been sprinkled before you can eat it?
I thought so, but I don't know for sure. Okay, so this is in mitzvah number kuf tes vav. You could just say sefer mitzvahs. not to shech the Pesach when the chametz is extant. And the Rambam writes about that mitzvah. This is the prohibition to shech the sheep of the Pesach over chametz. That's what it means when it says, don't shech the over chametz, the blood of my zevach. It also repeats it in a different parsha. This means that at the time of the shechita of the Pesach, which is in the afternoon, then he may not have chametz in his domain. Lo b'reshus hashochet, lo b'reshus hazorek. I didn't know that. Not in the reshus of the shochet or of the sprinkler. Lo b'reshus hamaktir, and not in the reshus of the one who burns it. Interesting. No one who participates in the processing of the korban can own chametz. Oh, and not in, wow, that's far reaching. So let's say the case is I have my chavurah, right? And one person in the chavurah owns chametz. So I'm over the Isser, presumably. Am I over the Isser or is everyone over the Isser? I don't know. We'll find out. Let's see. Okay, so only the one who had chametz in his reshus gets malchus. That makes more sense. Yeah.
Are the other people Yotze?
So let's find out. That's a legitimate question also. So he says, so if a person shechs the Pesach on time and he has kazayis of chametz in his reshus, he gets malchus. As it says, lo sizbach al chametz dam zivchi, shlo yizbach Pesach al chametz kayim, not to slaughter the Pesach when the chametz is extant. Echad hashochet ve'echad hazor es adam es hamaktir es ha'imurin im hay b'reshus echad mehen o b'reshus echad min ha'chabur she'ochlin Pesach zeh kazayis chametz b'shas kravaso hazeh loke va Pesach kasher. So the Pesach is kasher. Okay, so the guy who had the contraband gets malchus, and then but you're still yotze. Yeah, interesting. Let's look at the makbili. Kazayas is kinafach zayis benoni, the mass of a what is nafach in modern Hebrew? Yeah, what's your question?
Was the Pesach kosher before he's in look, or am I just?
I assume that the Pesach is kosher even before he's located. I don't think they could do malchus. I don't think like they're counting on people doing malchus like before Pesach starts. Nafach in modern Hebrew means volume. Okay, that makes sense. So the volume of a medium-sized olive. Okay, and then hamaktir is ha'imurin, the one who burns the imurin. By the way, common mistranslation. I think people translate kuf tet resh as incense, but obviously the word katoras means incense, but the verb lahaktir means to burn, right? Literally means to cause to go up in smoke, right? So that's just a pet peeve of mine when people say that lahaktir means to offer incense. No, it means to cause to go up in smoke. Yeah. You have a question?
So just thinking, because it's smoky, so it's
yeah, I think that's why they call it that. But the nafkamina is when you burn animal parts, that's lahaktir. That's not, even though it's not incense. Okay, and then b'nei chavurah shenimnu le'achol as a Pesach b'chavurah achas. Fine. So the people who are appointed to eat the Pesach together. All right. So this one is, the subject is simple also, right? This is the law of lo tishchad chametz dam zivchi. Okay. Next. Anything else we see from this that was interesting here? Right. So you still are yotze. Yeah, you still are yotze. Okay, fine. Dam ha-pesach taun shvius. Now we get to do, we go to what we do with the blood. Actually, you know what? Let me just see if there are any pictures in our fancy picture thing that we've gotten to yet. No. Okay, I think these are in order then. All right, so we haven't gotten there yet. All right, no pictures yet. Okay, back to the halachos. Vav. Dama Pesach taun shvicha k'neged yisod. We have pictures down here. The blood of the Pesach requires pouring out opposite the base. V'achar sheshofchin dama. We'll look at the pictures in a second. After you pour the blood, mafshit oso, then you skin the Pesach. the animal. The korein es bitno, you tear its belly. Umotzin es emurav, and you take out its parts, its inner parts that are going to be offered in the mizbeach. Maktir nosan chelve kol zevach v'zevach levadan, and then you cause to go up in smoke the fats of each and every zevach on its own. Ubala zevach notel pischo im haor shelo, and then the owner of the zevach takes his Pesach with its skin, and goes out to his house in Yerushalayim, and then he roasts it and eats it in the evening, which we'll obviously plan to do later. Okay, so let's look at this diagram here. So here you have the Mizbeach, which the ramp is facing south, and the Yesod is the bottom part of that square part. And what does it say? Iyur mevar lahalachavav Yesod Mizbeach mabat mechivan darum mar. Okay, fine. Iyur mevar lahalach gimel azara b'mikdash. Oh, how nice of them! This is the picture I was looking for. They put a little mini version there. Right? Is that azara b'mikdash misumenes b'afor? So this dark area is the area where you're allowed to bring the Pesach. I didn't need to go through all the trouble of making the WhatsApp thing. Mizbeach misumen b'os mem. Okay, Mizbeach is by mem. Okay, how nice of them. Okay, good. Let's read the Makbili. Shvicha k'negarisod. Okay, hashvicha nasis benachas mikarov el kir hamizbeach v'hadam nuzal mimenu el hayesod. So the shvicha is done. The pouring is done. I don't know what it means by benachas. Nachas means like gently. Oh yeah, I think that's what it means. Gently, right? Gently, close to the wall of the mizbeach, and then the blood flows to the yesod. So you pour it. So if this stender were the mizbeach, right, you pour it onto the actual wall, but then it flows to the base. Shehu kamin madrega katana begova ama hamakifa es mizbeach mishnei tzadav. Oh, so there's actually like a ridge that encircles the mizbeach from both sides. Okay. Mafshitin also, you skin it. Poshtim es ora, you take off its skin. Chelve is chelke shuman shechayavim l'srofo sam al mizbeach. So the chelev is the part that the fatty parts that you put on the mizbeach. There hanikraim imurav. That's called the imurim. Imurim, I think, literally means selection, the select parts. Like ani ma'amircha hayom, I select you today. Kol zevach v'zevach levadan, each and every zevach on its own. Mipnei she'asur la'arev es imurei hakorbanos. You cannot mix the inner parts of the korbanos. V'nis arvun, if they become mixed, makrivim es kulam yachad, then you offer them together. V'yotze lebeis al Yerushalayim she'apesach nimna im hakodshim hakalim hanechaim b'chol Yerushalayim hamukadeshes. So the Pesach is counted among the light kachin that can be eaten anywhere in Yerushalayim that's sanctified. Uvaregel hayu makomos. And on the regel, then there would be places for the guests to stay. Okay, so that's the so this was the what he's calling the zricha, which is really the shvicha. Okay, so now what's going to be the remainder of the parak? Let's find out. Oh, we're not done yet. Okay, hamaniach emurin v'lo hiktiran halacha zayin. Someone who
I did wrong.
Okay, someone who leaves the fats and does not cause them to go up and smoke to the point where they spend the night and then they become puzzle through being overnight. How is it over below sase? Then you violate below sase. Shnemar, as it says, v'lo yalin chelev chagi ad boker. You may not leave overnight the fat of my festival offering on ad boker. It's weird that he calls it the chagi, right? Because it is not your chagiga, right? It's the Chag Pesach, you know. It's just weird that it doesn't use lashon Pesach here. Valva pi sha'avar eno loke lefi she'ein bo ma'aseh. Even though you transgressed, you don't get malchus because there's no ma'aseh involved. We actually did not do this in the Sefer Mitzvos either. So let's see this in the Sefer Mitzvos. In the Sefer Mitzvos, this is mitzvah number Kuf Yud Vav, which is Shlo lahaniach emure. This is on the other packet. Up here, so it's usher to leave the fats of the Pesach until they become puzzled by going overnight. Yeah.
So first, wait, is it saying that you wait until the fats are burned to eat?
Yeah, it sounds like what you do is you bring them. And it sounds like this is in chronological order, that they shecht it, they collect the blood, they pour the blood, they skin it, they tear the beten, they remove the emurin, then they're maktir the emurin, and then after that, the Baal HaZevach takes it and then goes home.
I guess I mean, what's the halacha if you have enough time to have it shechted, but you don't have enough time to eat it after?
Good question. Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't even know what they do if they run out of time. Like can you do it at night? I mean, I know that the imurim continue to burn all night, but can you like l'chadchila burn it at night? I have no idea. And I also don't know if there's an exception here because the Pesach is stuff you do with it at night, but I don't know. We'll see if I don't know if he's going to say. Okay, so let's do Sefer HaMitzvos on Kuf Yud Vav. So this is going to be a short one. Kuf Tes Vav. No, not Kuf Yud. Kuf Tes Zayin. HaMitzvah HaShesh Esrei U'Me'ah HaShar Shus Har Milaneach Emur Shal Pesach B'li HaKrava Ad Shifsulu B'Hiosa Nosar. Oh, interesting. No, not interesting. Okay. Lo yelling chalkiyad boker v'lashon hamachilta lo yelling ba hakasav l'lamed al hachalavim shehin nifsalim belina al gabi haritzba ukvar nichbla ha'asar b'inyan zeb v'lashon acher v'hu amro v'lo yelling l'boker zevach chal ha'pasach. Okay, so the second time around in the Pesachim it does say do not leave overnight until morning the offering of the chal ha'pasach. So it does use the term chal ha'pasach. Okay, nothing new there. Okay, let's look at the Makbili. He says, "Shalanu v'nifsalu v'lina. Kol davar shnis kadosh b'kli kodesh v'shaha lan v'lo." So anything that has been sanctified in kli kodesh and has waited, meaning gone overnight, v'lo nesesam mitzvah, and its mitzvah was not done with it, pasul, is invalid. Okay, chelev chagi is chelev korban hachag imurav. You don't get malchus for something that doesn't have maisa. Klomer ein ma'anishim al avra avera b'dibor b'machshava or b'himanos nasiya davar. All right, fine. We're only going to read the Rav Makbiles that we need to. Okay, there's a lot of like basic information here. All right, 8. 8. Maktirin chelve Pesachim kol halayla. That answers the question. Your question, right? So you can cause the chalavim of the Pesachim to go up and smoke all night until morning. So even past chatos. But when does this talk about? B'shechal arba asar lios b'Shabbos. That's only if it's chal on Shabbos. Shari chelve Shabbos craving b'yom tov, because the chalavim of Shabbos may be brought on Yom Tov. Aval im chal arba asar lios b'chol im maktirin chelbo. Then you cannot be makriv, so you can't be maktir the chalavim of chol on Yom Tov. So that's interesting. Yeah.
Do you have to do shchita for shkia?
Yeah, right. For the Pesach.
You have to do it for shkia. I thought it started early.
I think you have to do it before Shkia. I could be wrong about that, but I thought, how did he say it? Zman? Does it say Arbas? Yeah, because if it has to be before, while it's still the 14th of Nisan, right? That's when the Zman of Pesach is. Yeah. Right. So he's saying it's funny. The 14th is chol, and you can't burn the imurin on Yom Tov, because you can't just burn whatever you want on Yom Tov, right? You can only do korbanos stuff of the Yom Tov, or you could do stuff that is ochel nefesh, right? So burning the chalavim of the Pesach on Yom Tov would be no different than like burning, paper, right? Whereas if it's on Shabbos, if the 14th is on Shabbos, and the next day is Yom Tov, you are allowed to burn the chalavim of Shabbos on Yom Tov. Okay, apparently that's a rule. Let's look at the footnote 8, and then we'll call it quits for today because the next part is a new section. Kol halayla min Torah. Oh, interesting. So all night, this is going on the statement that you can be makfir the chelvei Pesachim all night. That's min Torah. And then we have this rule, which is a general rule. The Chachamim, just like Kriya Shema, made a fence that you should do it before midnight, so that you don't delay it. Amud HaShachar is Amud HaOr. Okay, that's defining Amud HaShachar. We don't need that. Chavei Shabbos Makrivim B'Yom Tov. Mipnei Shabbos Mekudeshes Yoser Miyom Tov. Because Shabbos has more kedusha than Yom Tov. Umash Nishchad B'Shabbos Yachol L'Karev Gam B'Yom Tov. And that which you shecht on Shabbos can also be brought in Yom Tov, where if it's on Chol, you can't do it on Yom Tov, because that's going that'd be going down in Kedusha. It'd be using Yom Tov to service a Yom Chol. Okay, so let's just do a teaser for tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be the Seder HaHakrava, meaning how they would do all this in Mikdash. That'll probably take us through the end, unless we do Techiyah B'Shabbos, okay, which will be another topic. And is that the last topic? And that's the last topic in the parak. Okay, we will continue tomorrow. Yeah.
I really find this interesting.